Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Prepping in Progress. I'm Steve. Miss Kay is not feeling well, and she will not be joining us today. Not all jerry cans are created equal. We're going to discuss one of my favorite liquid carrying tools. So stay with me. Okay, so the jerry can has been around forever. Has been used by the U.S. military for gas cans, water cans, multitude of uses. Diesel, just about anything that you can think of, it's been carried in a jerry can since at least World War II. They have been made from a variety of substances. Many of the original ones were metal. They have a variety of lids, tops, and the newer ones are made out of heavy-duty plastic. If you go back and watch, what was it? Surviving the Cut was a television show, I believe, on either Discovery Channel or one of the other educational channels, and it took different special units in the military and showed their training. The Air Force pararescuemen had a race that they had to run carrying a ruck and whatnot. And at the end of the run, the last event was to carry two of these full of water in addition to their gear to the finish line. And we're talking a mile, 2 miles, I believe. Now, they may have had to carry it through the entire event. I don't remember that part, but it's been 3, 4, 5 years since I watched it. Maybe I should go back and pull up my hard drive with all of my iTunes purchases and look it up. I may even have the DVDs somewhere. It was a good show. Only lasted one season. But anyway, the point is, this is the make and model of jerry can that they were carrying on that show. So, they're not all created equal. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter which one you use, they are susceptible to being punctured by anything from 556, 223, any other set of numbers you can come up with, to a hammer and a screwdriver. It's just the way of life. Your metal cans will run $30 to $40, sometimes even more. And when I found this one in a junkyard, I thought it could be cleaned out and put back in service. I may have been wrong. I put gravel in it and sand, and I drove around for several weeks with it on its side on the back of the Jeep on the cargo rack, shaking it up, trying to scrub the gunk that was inside out and the rust that I could see inside. At the time, it held water. The problem with metal cans. We're just going to move this over here for a minute. I'll take the... yes. I mean, the inside, aside from a little bit of the gravel left, looks pretty good. A little bit rusty, but I could live with that. I could be fine with that. However, if you'll look right here with the flashlight in, during the course of the cleaning and then power washing, the metal has rusted and degraded. So yeah, the power washing punched through what was left. So while these things may have a 40, 50, 60-year lifespan, I cannot find a year on this thing. It's not on the bottom, it's not on the side. Although on the side it does say US, so I'm assuming that's military issue. I'd say Vietnam, maybe. Some of you guys do some lookups. Maybe there's something to do with the manufacture of the handles the way it was done. I need to do some checking and see if some of my welder friends can maybe put a new bottom in or patch that. We'll see. And this may turn into a 50-cent investment in scrap metal. So there's that. So metal cans, I like them. I think they are a good option for the lifespan versus the abuse that they'll take. This green water can, 6 gallons, made by the Reliance Corporation, for water only. I'm okay with that. It's not super duty plastic. It comes with its own funnel that you pop out of the top and then put in the ring, and we'll do that in a second. But what we're going to do is put just a little bit of water in here. You know, and weight is going to be an issue because a 5-gallon can will weigh less than a 6-gallon can, obviously. But the construction of the plastic, the thickness of the plastic, is going to add weight. All right, so that lid with just a little bit of water is still pretty good. It's kind of bulging on the cap, but it's doable. Keeping in mind it'll be a little bit heavier with if it were full, and it would go past the funnel. Now then, as with anything with threads, it's going to be a bit of a pain to get on there. So let's just see here. Well, it's not really leaking around the edge. Let's see how good the funnel actually works. May not be using that cup for a while. Apparently there was some residue of something in here. Looks like a moth. Keeping in mind this is the one that we took out of the Jeep and just left stored over the winter because we didn't want it to freeze. I believe we talked about that in the Jeep talk about winterizing your gear. Why did I do that? Oh! So apparently over the winter a moth got in. But hey, it's all good. This one does feature a pull-out tab for the air hole so that your water will flow. The problem is with that that since it just pops in, if you're a Jeeper and you're running around on dirt and bumpy roads, this can work loose, and then you've got water splashing out. So the metal can's my favorite. The off-brand, I'd use it around the homestead. I would not say this is going to be my go-to. This is the current U.S. military jerry can. What do I like about it? Well, this little tab right here catches here, so that when you're trying to unscrew it, it stops and you have to lift it. Now that means that when you're in your vehicle, it's not going to just come completely unscrewed and dump your water everywhere. It also means that if you are going to unscrew this, you're making a choice. Now, I'm going to say this. Most of the things that say the military uses that say, you know, for military use, from military use, etc. A lot of us in the prepper community go, ooh, I want that. I'm not necessarily behind that philosophy, because military issue generally means made by the lowest bidder. And we all saw with the multicam issue with the Army, how many years did that last? 2, 3, 4, 5? And they said, no, we don't want this, it's not working, and they got rid of it. I will admit that I picked up some cheap, and I used it for work clothes around the homestead. I will say I couldn't have used it for camouflage. You stood out like a sore thumb. You might as well have been wearing one of those safety belts that reflects light. But let's take a look at their can. So we've tightened it down. It's screwed on. The lids are screwed on. Now let's keep in mind, I threw twice as much water in here as the other one. And all of these cans are well used. They've been around forever. Okay, so no leakage there. Now this is what I really truly love about the current military water can. One, I'm not going to put fuel in it, but let's bring this to you. Instead of having a pull tab or something for the air to displace the water as you pour, this one unscrews. And if you look, see if we can show you. There's your vent hole right there. And then you unscrew here, and there's your nozzle. And I'm sure if you could find a nozzle that would meet those threads, you could put it on. So let's see how it pours. One thing I don't like is that the cap tends to go to the bottom. And get in the way. but it had little to no leakage. So for fuel, I'm going to go with a metal can every time. That's my analysis. That's my go-to. So if I want to put little extra range on the Jeep out in the middle of nowhere, or if I want to start carrying fuel, that's going to be my go-to. Now I'll still use the red plastic 5-gallon gas cans. I have no problem with that. I'll put them in the garage and use them on the lawnmower. But when I'm going to go out in the middle of nowhere, when I'm thinking I may need some extra fuel in getting home, it's going to go in a red can. Not that particular one. I'm getting some newer ones too that I can beat up. For water, out of the two, I'm going to go with the military issue. Like I say, maybe made by the lowest bidder, but on this one, I like it. I'm also thinking that using a life straw, we can pour this into our bag, hook up our life straw, and then filter it if we have to. This can be used for fresh water from the spring, from the river, from whatever, and then we never have to worry about it drinking straight from it. But we have water that can still be filtered. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hey, keep in mind, I didn't call you all guys today. To the commenter on a very old video who was offended because I used the term guys, meaning ladies and gents, here you go. Your one episode for you where I didn't do it. Or did I? Meh. You know what? I'm old. I remember when in English class you were taught if you don't know the gender of the person you are speaking of, you refer to them as he. I'm old. Deal with it. Sorry, guys. I can't keep up. So, thanks for watching. We do appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care.